Hello, busy girl. If you've been looking for a signature look to wear to a meeting or even a dinner or just an outing with friends, which is really simple, and you've been trying to figure out makeup that looks like you and doesn't stand out, then this is the video for you. I'm going to try and use the least amount of products that I can to achieve this, because that's also something that I particularly enjoy. Also, the least amount of tools and techniques. Mostly I'm going to try and use just my clean hands, and therefore before I start the video, if you're following along, I would really encourage that you clean your face, clean your hands, and do your skin prep first. My skin is extremely dry, so I like to moisturize a lot, especially right now in the winter, and then sunscreen. So do your skincare routine and then get started, because that plays a huge role in how your makeup ends up looking. I like to start off with this peach color corrector. As you can see, there are a lot of colors in this palette. Each color is meant to work for a particular concern. Peach works in kind of cancelling out these under eye dark circles, as you can see, and slight veins that are visible right under my eyes, because the skin there is thinner than the rest of the face, I suppose. And I just take any clean finger, kind of then dab it in. I do have a stick version of this product as well. I also use the corrector on top of my acne marks. So I'm not going to tell you the product brand name, but just what the description is, so that you get in the habit of understanding what you're using and how to apply that on yourself, versus just buying a particular product or brand name because you're influenced. After taking that peach corrector, and mine is a cream based corrector. Makeup usually comes in cream base or a liquid base. I find cream to be hydrating for my skin, which is why I like to use it. There is cushion and powder versions also, which I think work better for oilier skin. So as you can see, I'm correcting the areas where I feel it could use a little brightening. So around my mouth, where I feel a slight color difference, then also between my eyebrows and my forehead. Next, I take this product. It's slightly new to my routine. It's an illuminator, sort of. The combination of an illuminator, highlighter, primer. I think illuminator is the best way to describe it, because it goes right before your foundation, although the packaging says that it can be used as is, but I feel like it applies on really sheer. So again, totally depends on what kind of coverage you're looking for. So this just goes on all over the face. I'm again dabbing with very light motion. You don't want to rub the product into your skin the way you do for your creams, because then the product's going to just rub away. So don't use that technique. Just dab it all over your face such that the product gets applied. As you can see, I have this peach pink eyeshadow palette, which is super versatile. You'll find out further along in the video that I'm going to use the same palette for my eyes and for my cheeks as well. I've taken this, again, peaches shade. You can take any shade. The idea is, if you want to make it look like your face but better, then you want to pick shades that again mimic your natural coloring, which would be a peachish or a very light pink. If you're warmer, then you're typically going to lean peach more than cool pinks, so keep that in mind. Now I'm also going to show you how you can just apply it on with your finger, because that's also really easy. A slight peachish pinkish color does is kind of brings that color to your eyes, adds like a gentle glow and warmth to the face. And now I take my spoolie brush. Sometimes I just use a little bit of the brown eyeshadow and then just lightly run it through my eyebrows. Actually, I don't even do anything else, because I don't feel the need to use an eyebrow gel. So just a light touch works. Now I'm using the same brown shade from that palette as a pseudo eyeliner. You could also use a brown eyeliner. I'm really pro brown kajal and liner for Indian skin tones, because that really makes our eyes pop. It's what's also used in that latte makeup that people do. Now I'm just applying a little bit of kajal. I have hooded eyes, is what I learned and realized recently from a makeup artist, which means that if I go heavier on my eyes, they would get overpowered and not show all that well, which means that a traditional full kajal look can really make my eyes look smaller, which is why, as you can see, I'm just kind of tight lining with the kajal. I'm only doing it for the outer half of my eye. I'm not going in all the way with the kajal, so that my eye doesn't look smaller. So a lot of the tips and tricks that you would use, you will have to modify to your face shape versus applying the learning as it is. So now that the eyes are somewhat done, I'm going in with my foundation. It's a liquid foundation. Here I'm going to use a sponge instead of my palms using this beauty blender thing with the corner, just going in. And again, with a very light hand, I am dabbing all over the face, taking it up to the ear so that nothing feels like it's standing out too much. You don't want your face to look very different from your neck. So this is simple. Again, the technique here is light dabbing of the sponge throughout the face. If the sponge is damp, that's even better in terms of application. I have personally never enjoyed applying my foundation with the brush. As you can see, I'm kind of keeping it light around the nose because that way the face doesn't look very, very flat. I'm not going to want to do anything heavy with contouring, etc. So that's why I'm keeping the coverage almost sheer, very minimal. Otherwise, if I go very heavy with the foundation, then I'm going to need to do a little bit of contouring to bring the 3D structure back in. Now that I've put the foundation all over my face, I'm just going in with the mascara. Again, I feel for hooded eyes, and when you haven't done a very heavy eyeliner, the mascara really makes my eyes pop and look bigger instantly. So again, just a thin coat. I know some people don't like to apply the mascara on the bottom lash line, but I mean, I just like it when it's on the upper as well as the lower eyelid. Just as a fun touch, my friend got me this shimmery eyeshadow, which I just like to add to the middle of my eye for a little bit of whimsy, just for a little fun. You can skip this if you want to for like work meetings, but honestly it's quite cute, I think. And some remaining sparkles on the apples of my cheeks and a little bit on my nose. And now my favorite product, which is the blush. I'm using this lip cheek tint. You could also use a liquid blush if you like, and I'm going to apply it to the part of my palm of my hand which connects to almost my arms, so that then I can rub both my palms together. What this does is it warms up the product so that it applies on very naturally, very smoothly in fact. And here I'm applying it to the apples of my cheek, also slightly higher towards almost my eyebrow bone, which gives it that snatched look. This is a very natural sheer-ish product. I'm also applying it to the tip and the bridge of my nose because that gives it that flushed, sun-kissed kind of look, which I personally really like. You can tell that the blush is not applying on very, very thick or heavy or even bright, which is exactly what I want for this look, because I want to look naturally flushed instead of very obviously being able to tell that I have blush on. So here you go. Don't worry, I'm going to follow up with a little more powder blush. Again, I'm using the same palette as you can see, and there's also a slightly warmer, almost brown orange shade that I'm merging the pink eyeshadow shade with, and this I'm just topping off the liquid blush with. I feel like it just sets the blush well, and on top of that just adds a little more color where I might have missed it earlier with my palms. Forehead, chin, little bit on my cheek as well, and my nose, and overall really ties the look together. Next, I'm using this glow balm. I don't think it's exactly a highlighter. It's this glow stick type of product, because I feel like highlighters tend to have that golden-ish, very like sometimes over the top kind of shine, whereas I want to mimic like a glowy makeup look, glowy face. So this glow stick was really helpful. Again, I applied it to the same part of the palm of my hand, and then using my fingers applying it to the top of like the bridge of my nose, tip of my nose, high points of my cheek like the cheekbones, and then also my eyebrow bone. I like to use all the product in my hand. I don't like to waste anything. Now there's another trick where applying it to your forehead also adds a little dewy look, glass skin like effect. I learned from a professional makeup artist recently. Now I'm using again a very nude, I think almost brown lip liner. I think I should have sharpened it, but still it does a decent job giving me a light contour, because again I don't want any harsh lines when I'm doing my makeup for like work or even shooting this video, just stepping out with friends, where I don't want the makeup to seem like going for a party. It's just my face but brighter. Then there's this pink crayon like lipstick. Again, it's very, very true and close to my actual lip color, and I don't apply it fully. As you can see, I'm just dabbing this slightly. So again, depending on what kind of look you're trying to achieve, when I'm trying to look very natural, I've just lightly dabbed it on. But then as you can see, I couldn't resist once I start putting on lip products. And a lot of you have asked me in the videos that I've done before on what lip products I've used. Honestly, every time I do my makeup, it's just a different combination of a few of the same products. I showed you the eyeshadow palette also. Sometimes it's that peach shade, sometimes it's a different pink shade. Honestly, I don't know. That's it, that's done. I think in this lighting you can't see the glow as much, but I'm gonna try and attach more images. This is it, you're good to go. I hope you found this simple. I like to think of these tips as something I could also tell my mom so that it's easy for her to do her makeup. And I'd love to know in the comments if you recreated this. Bye, I'll see you in the next one.